there, this is James and you're watching Tixee Live. And a very good morning to all of you, and all of you a very happy Friday. So in today's program, I want to talk about the day finally being here. The day finally being here, the day the market has been building up to, and which of course is obviously J Powell's speech today, and something that he could say which could really spook the market. But before we get into all of that, don't forget these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. So I always suggest you do your own research and do your own due diligence, and of course know the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out of the way, let's get started. So yes, the day is finally here. And after the day, well, hopefully Monday, I can stop talking about it, because it's the one thing we've been talking about all week. And it's the one thing that the market has been building up to. And that, of course, is the Fed's chair, Jerome Powell's speech, due at 2 p.m. UTC today. Now, already setting him up for his big moment on stage, we've already had quite a few Fed other members speak quite hawkishly. They're all singing pretty much the same tune. Now we've got George, who's the president of Kansas, Fed's in Kansas. She has said there is more work to be done. Bostic, another Fed member, he says strong data may make a case for another 75 basis point rate hike in September. And Harker, he said we need to get a restrictive stance, which we'll be doing by the year end. In other words, we need to get a grip of inflation. And finally, Bullard, who's very, very hawkish, he says, my baseline is inflation to be more persistent than many on Wall Street think. In other words, what he's saying is the market is double guessing them, and the market is not understanding that the Fed is ready to be more aggressive. So yes, already we've had a chorus of hawks. And this sets up, of course, the big one, which is, of course, Jerome Powell. And it's time for Powell to speak. General consensus already that he's going to be quite hawkish, but there is two words in particular he could say, which could really put pressure on the market, and particularly could put pressure on the S&P 500. Don't forget, after the June lows, the S&P 500 has actually bounced back about 18%. Of course, we've seen a little bit of a drop-off on the S&P since then. But there's two words that Powell could say, which would really put fear into the market. And those two words are the 1970s. The 1970s. Now, in a speech back in March, Powell took the audience through a history lesson. He said in 1965, as an example, 1984 and 1994 as proof that tightening didn't lead to recession. So he used those examples. And here's the thing. Unemployment in the US at the moment is currently at 3.5%. The last time it was at 3.5% was 1969. Interest rates at that time was 9%. However, in 1971, the Fed cut rates by 4% and unemployment rose to 6%. They then reverted back to raising rates aggressively, and by the mid-1970s, and the US fell into recession. The theory is the reason what caused the recession was the cut rates too soon, and that was a mistake. The market is sort of hoping that the Powell may indicate by cutting rates sometime next year. But if he brings up the 1970s as an example, the market will then look at it and say he isn't going to be cutting rates anytime soon. So Powell, the market could come under a lot of pressure. Now, what I want to know, we'll have a look at the market in a minute. What I want to know is, what do you think? Do you think he's going to be hawkish, or do you think he's going to be dovish in his speech? And in our community on YouTube, there's a poll where you can either vote for a dovish speech or a hawkish speech. So please come along and share with me your views on what this speech is going to be. Is it being hawkish or dovish? Anyway, let's have a quick look at the markets. let's have a quick look at the markets. Starting off with, this is the euro. As we know, the euro has been under pressure by a lot of dollar strength. It's currently trading at 0.9974, stuck between those two levels at 1.0002 as a key area of interest, as a potential resistance, and just floating above that key area at 0.9928, which is a potential area of interest for support. The sterling, pretty much the same, is dropping under that key area at the moment at 1.18172, currently trading at 1.1779. So yes, dollar strength again with the sterling. If we look at the dollar yen, okay, trading slightly higher, 136.948, but really there's a key potential resistance at 137.74. Gold, pretty much the same picture as well, still stuck between that range, way under that key area of interest, which is a potential resistance of $1,791, and above that key area of support, $1,727, currently trading at 1,752. S&P 500, again, is hovering around that really, really important level of 4,190 points. It's currently trading at 4,186 points. So like I say, S&P is one to watch on the back of this speech. Like I say, will he say the 1970s? And the S&P could come under a lot of pressure. In other news, which is just as scary as this potential speech, of course, is the cost of living crisis in the UK is going to get worse. Ofcom has predicted that the average annual electricity bill in the UK will rise from £2,000 a year to £3,500 a year by October. So even worse than that, some analysts are predicting the average bill could rise to £5,000 a year by January. So the UK is gripped in the same energy crisis as Europe. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that develops. And it's not a pretty picture at all. So anyway, it's all about today. It's all about J Powell and his speech. It'd be interesting to see if he will say 1970s as an example. Like I say, please come and share with me your ideas and your opinions. Join the poll. Vote. Do you think he's going to be hawkish? Or vote, do you think he's going to be dovish? But like I say, please come along. It's on our community page on our YouTube channel. So please share with me your views. The market, as it currently stands, the FTSE currently trading slightly higher, 0.28%. DAX currently trading slightly higher, 0.34%. And Euro Stoxx 50 currently trading slightly higher, 0.11%. Don't forget, you can ask me questions anytime you wish. Hey, you voted. Okay, so you think hawkish. Good for you. I think the general consensus is he will be hawkish. But like I say, it'd be interesting because he does like to use history. He's used other examples of when tightening has done a soft landing, like 2000 and what other example did he use? 2016, I think he used as an example. So it'd be interesting to say 1970s. But yeah, please, more people vote. It's interesting to share opinions and everything like that. And don't forget, you can share your opinions live with me, live on air, or ask me questions if you like, or simply say hello, tell me how your day's going, for example, simple like that if you like. Okie dokie, not a problem. If you think of a question later, put it in the comment section below on either Facebook or YouTube. I will see them and I will reply to the question next time I'm online, which of course will be later today at 2 p.m. UTC. We'll talk a little bit more about what's happened in the European session and the build up to Powell, because as I'll be on air, he will be speaking. So I'll be keeping an ear out. We can watch the market together. That might be quite exciting, actually. So we could do that. And of course, I do my usual end of week weekly wrap up, which has really all been about what's happening today at 2 p.m. UTC. So yeah. Anyway, if there is no questions, don't forget, if you're watching me on Facebook and you enjoyed this little episode, by all means, give us a follow. If you're watching me on YouTube and you enjoyed this little video, by all means, subscribe if you like. Hit the notification button so you know next time I'm going live. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, and you put up with me, my over-the-top enthusiasm for the markets, which I simply just cannot help because I love the markets, give me one of these. It's nice to know that you like what I do. Anyway, till next time, don't forget, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. Till next time, every single one of you, trade safe.